Hi, Garth Ennis here to talk to Forbidden Planet TV about the war.
Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner, and today I'm going through the Forbidden Planet TV round window. And who should be on the other side? It's Garth Ennis. How are you, mate?
Not not too bad, mate. Better for that intro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, of course. It just came to me in a fit of inspiration. So, mate, we're here to talk about an upcoming project publishing at the end of this month.
Mhm.
The War. What can you tell me about it, mate?
So this is an odd one. It's a three-issue miniseries. It was originally serialized late last year and early this in Boom Comics' new horror anthology, which is called Hello Darkness. And the war ran for, I think, the first seven issues. And it seems that it went over well enough that they want to release it as its own three-issue miniseries starting soon. And I believe early next year you'll get a final collection of the whole thing. What it's about is it's a cheery little nuclear war drama. Um, I was approached by Bryce Carlson at Boom about doing something for the anthology, and this is what came to mind whenever people ask me for uh, well, any kind of project, but particularly when it's for an anthology of some kind. It it's usually a question of what's kicking around in my mind at that particular time. And what was kicking around in my mind at the time was nuclear war, because it has been the past few years obviously because of real world events.
Yeah.
And so I began to think about what it would be like for a small group of people. Uh, I think there are six, eight of them. Um, Young people, sort of early 30s, New Yorkers, couples, one expat Brit, the rest locals. If Ukraine boiled over, if it steadily turned into the great nightmare that we're all very much hoping it won't. This being, of course, the closest that the two superpowers have come to an actual confrontation since the end of the Cold War. And I began to think about what it would be like for ordinary people. And I did what I usually do in those circumstances, which is to take a good long stare into the dark. And I wrote down what I saw there. And the war is the result.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a long stare into the dark is something that you've always excelled at.
Mm.
Something that also can be quite a brutal experience. What was it like for you writing it and putting yourself in that headspace?
Um, Unpleasant, but given that there's usually something fairly nasty bouncing around inside my head anyway, a number of things really. It was just a
Yeah,
question of accessing it really and getting it down on paper. After all, as you know, for people of our generation, uh, the Cold War saw the end of that well, not the end, but perhaps a lessening of that threat that we'd grown up with, that awful
yeah,
thought that one day we'd go to school or be out playing with our friends or wake up one morning and World War III would have begun and the end of all things would have come. So it's something that I suppose I've been thinking about for a good chunk of my life. You also know, of course, that there were the famous 80s dramas like Threads and The Day
right.
After that took a look at what it might be like. And we grew up with those. It was something you you couldn't really get away from, either in real life or in fiction. It was always there. And so it was really just a matter of going back to that and
Yeah,
getting back into that headspace and thinking, what if cooler heads do not prevail? What if it does go all the way? What will that be like? What will it be like in the first minutes, hours, days, and then weeks? The further you look at it, the scarier it gets, of course, because it's like a piece of disaster fiction without a happy ending,
Yeah.
without the relief forces showing up at the end, the hero breathing a sigh of relief, the helicopters on the horizon bringing in the good guys and food and supplies, all this kind of thing. The things that happen at the end of the disaster movie don't happen, and we just spiral further and further and further into chaos and horror until there's nothing left but oblivion. So cheery stuff.
It's so
Yeah.
true, mate. But as you correctly identified, I mean that was our childhood. The ever present, ever hanging sword of Damocles
Mm,
was the wrong person pressing the wrong button at the wrong
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Uh,
It's interesting that the artist on this is Becky Cloonan. Now, Becky's someone that I've wanted to work with for a long time. I think her art is absolutely tremendous, very, very human, very character driven. She's a bit younger than me. I think I'm about 15 years older than her. But if her generation were spared the worst of the Cold War fears that we grew up with, if that was a little more abstract for someone of her age, she certainly had no trouble getting into the mindset,
yeah.
because I think anyone who uh, stops to confront the reality of some sort of superpower conflagration will find out it concentrates the mind very quickly. You either recoil from it and hide under the pillow, or you confront it, you read about it, you find out what the reality of it would be. Becky had no trouble doing so. She did an absolutely superb job. One of the nicest um, art jobs on any of my stories.
I'm really glad that you've had this chance to work with her because I think she's a major talent.
Yeah,
And from the pages I've seen, so complementary to your style as well.
yeah,
So it must be a real pleasure, when you're operating at the level you are, that you get partners to work with that are
yeah.
really delivering the quality. Seeing those pages come in, as I know from when I've got my Titan Comics hat on, there's nothing better than seeing that pin sharp artwork that really evokes the text, right?
Yeah, it's still my favorite part of the process, actually,
Yeah.
is when the art comes in. Becky's one of those artists that if she adds any ideas of her own, if she develops what you've given her in any way, it'll all be good stuff. The ideas will all be good. Sometimes when an artist says, "I tried something a bit different," your heart sinks because you think, "What, like not telling the story I give you to tell?" And sometimes that is the case. But with Becky and the really good artists I work with, that's not an issue. And some of the stuff she did on it, I thought was really, really smart. There's one sequence in particular which takes place largely in darkness. So it's the classic tailless balloons against black background. Becky found a way to get a little bit of visual input in there in a way that I'm not sure I've really seen before. Uh, but it was not just innovative, was a, there was a stroke of genius about it, I would say.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate, how exciting! Well, I cannot wait to see this book. I'm glad that Boom have taken the steps that they have
Yeah.
to put it out as a book, a standalone book, and to put it out as the collection, which will be next year.
Yeah.
Anybody watching this can go to the links right below us to order their copy of the War Issue 1. Before we go, mate, you have referring to a subject close to our hearts, which is British World War II comics and battle action, which you've done
Hmm.
fine work on, and we've discussed on this channel over the last couple of years. You've got a signing coming up at Forbidden Planet Camden, haven't you, mate?
That is right. That would be, correct me if I'm wrong, August the 23rd.
Yeah, right on.
There you go.
August, Saturday,
Saturday.
August the 23rd. Yeah.
That's right. With partners in crime, Rob Williams and Keith Burns.
Wonderful.
So that's going to be a good day out. So hope to see everybody there for that.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's Forbidden Planet Camden, the newly opened Planet Camden. We've had it open for about 3 months in Inverness Street, at just right by 2 minutes walk from Camden Town Tube Station. It's a great
Hmm.
store. It's got great staff there. They love the comics, and what better than a triumvirate of Ennis, Burns, and Williams, three all-round solid chaps talking about World War II daring do and other things.
A bunch of Celts, if
Absolutely
you think,
right. Spot
if
on,
you
mate.
think about it.
Yeah, no, very true. Yeah. And on that solid Celtic note, brother, I will see you very soon. Thanks for
All right,
joining me, mate.
cheers.
Take care. If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.